I'm going to lift the non-dissemination order. But I want to point out what that means and what it doesn't mean. So obviously nobody's required to speak to the media, first of all. Second of all, I want to be clear that the court's prior preservation order to the parties is not lifted and continues to stay in place. And so it's important to understand that those obligations still exist. And then the other thing I want to point out is that by lifting the non-dissemination order, that does not convert sealed documents to unsealed documents. Documents previously sealed by the court are still sealed. Now, I see the media also filed a petition to be heard to unseal everything. I'm denying that outright, the request to intervene, because I think it's premature at this point. So the court will its intent is to, after sentencing, begin the process of reviewing all the sealed material in this case to determine what should be unsealed and what should not be unsealed. That process will include an opportunity for counsel to register any objections to unsealing documents, specific documents, and request to redact certain sealed documents before they are unsealed, or unseal them in a redacted form. I intend to do that in groupings of documents at a time. As I sit here now, my thought is I'm going to start from newest to oldest because those are the ones that I have the most working knowledge of as to the reason for the sealing of the documents, as well as the content of those documents. And so I think I can get through those more quickly. As we move backward in time, it's going to take further or more extensive review by the court to figure out, to obviously review the content of those documents, listen to those hearings, et cetera, and determine why they were sealed and whether that rationale still is necessary, or that rationale still requires the documents to maintain that sealed status. And so before everybody gets out their pen and paper and sends in public records requests, understand those will be denied for sealed records until they are unsealed. And that process is going to take time. And I'm not talking days, and I'm probably not talking weeks for that to be accomplished. So I hope people understand patience will be required to get through that, as I'm going to have to review those myself to make those decisions. Now, we may be able to speed things up if neither party objects to groupings of documents or specific documents being unsealed, but it's important to review those because those documents may include information that, pursuant to Rule 32, are not to be made public, including birth dates, social securities, information about minors and victims, and information that would be essentially inappropriate to unseal, including protection of individuals from undue harassment, et cetera. And so that's just going to take time. In addition, I'm unlikely to unseal much until after sentencing and after the appeals period has run. Now, I recognize the plea agreement includes a waiver of the right to appeal, but as the parties probably know, the U.S. Supreme Court in Garza versus Idaho has indicated the fact that a defendant waives the right to appeal doesn't mean they don't have the right to appeal. And so it may affect the outcome of that appeal, and it may affect the underlying case and the plea agreement, but nonetheless, the right to appeal does not go away because of the waiver. And so I think it's important for that time period to also play itself out to see that it goes the way that I think people intend and expect it to. And so I will be entering an order in the next week or so outlining the process for the review of the sealed records. And counsel will need to maintain a presence in the case in order to review those materials as they are proposed to be unsealed by the court. You know, because the timeline that I will likely give you will not be, I suspect, extensive as for each group of records. So I might give you 14 days, for example, to provide a response as to a group of, you know, a dozen or a couple dozen records at a time. So just sort of heads up and fair play with respect to that.